Hey everyone, welcome back to Wealthy Mentor Trading. Today is April the 11th, 2021, and today I'm going to be looking at the markets, S&P 500, which is at all-time highs. I'm also going to be looking at some targets to the upside and some targets to the downside if we do see some weakness going into tomorrow. I'm also going to be looking at some of the watch list names, names like Tesla and Apple, NVDA, ROKU, PTON, and some other names that I see some strength in. As you guys can see here, I do have the S&P 500 chart open, and we had a pretty strong week, making all-time highs. We did close Friday's session at that 4130 resistance. I do have overhead resistance drawn out at 4150, which is the first take profit target, and another take profit target at 4180. We also do have a lot of the financial names reporting earnings this week, and the XLF financial sector is nearing all-time highs as well. With that being said, if we do see a push in the financial sector, look for S&P 500 to hit these targets to the upside. Now to the downside, we are oversold on the higher time frames on the daily and the weekly on SPX. So if we do see a correction, I do see 4100 as support. If that is broken, I'm looking at targets at 40.85 and 40.70. 40.70 has held for good support here. However, if we do break that, I am looking at that gap fill over here at that 4,020 to 4,000 mark to retest those areas. We sort of just broke through without much resistance, and obviously we closed Friday session very bullish, right at that 4130 resistance. Okay, guys, so that is SPX, my outlook going into next week. Be sure also, guys, to like this video and also share it with your friends, and comment if you require any names that you want me to look at going into next week's stream. Also, be sure to check out thewealthymentor.net and check out our Discord group, where we offer trading watch list, swing trading watch list, options callouts, along with market prep every single day with new targets going into the week. Okay, so that is thewealthymentor.net. Also, if you want to join our Instagram page, Wealthy Mentor Trading, go ahead. We do offer free tips along with snaps every single day of what the market's doing and the news, outcoming news. Okay, guys. The first name I want to get into today would be Apple. Apple had a great week. AAPL is the ticker. Here we are on the 1-hour chart. As you guys can see here, we did close just below resistance at that 133 mark. Going into next week, I have 135 and 137 to 138 as the next take profit area. So if we do break 133, 133.50, I would say 135 would be my first take profit, 138 to 139. Even you can also draw the 140 as the next resistance points, would be a good place to take profit. As you guys also know, that Apple tends to run with SPX, so there's a correlation to when the markets are doing really well, Apple does tend to follow. And also, if there's weakness in Apple, look for the markets to do the same thing. So here we are on the 1 hour. I am going to switch over to the daily. As you guys can see here, we do have all-time highs at 145, and that's not a, what's it called? It's definitely possible that we can hit that 145 if we do see SPX above 4,200 going into next week. So I do have big targets at that 138 to 140 mark. If we do get past that, definitely look for that 145 to get hit, creating that top scenario. To the downside, if we have market weakness, I do see us dropping back down to the 130.50 and the 127 area. So those would be my targets getting into next week. If 130 is broken, 127.50 would be my first take profit, and my second take profit would be that 127.50 and 123 as strong support. Okay, so that is Apple on the daily time frame and the 1 hour time frame. And currently I am pretty bullish on Apple, and I definitely see us testing all-time highs at that 145 mark. Okay, guys, that is Apple. Another name, Tesla, TSLA. Tesla held strong this week. However, it did have strong resistance above that $700 mark, which we got rejected multiple times. I am going to switch over here to the 4 hour chart to give you guys a little bit more clarity. And as you guys can see here, we did have a hard time trying to break that $700, $695 mark. Right here, we had multiple ways of resistance. Big long wick here, tried to get above 700, got rejected, pushed back down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 candles, 9 4-hour candles, basically from Monday onwards to Wednesday, where we tried to break that $700 mark and got rejected, finally pushing back down. However, bulls did step in and try to reattempt to break that $700 mark, but this second bounce here wasn't as strong, and we got rejected at 690. Going into next week, my first hurdle would be that 682 mark. Above 682, again, I'm looking at that $700 first take profit target. However, if you are more of a conservative trader and don't want to get caught up into this mess, definitely look over 700 or 710 as your entry. Above 710, I'm looking at profits of 720 and 730. To the downside, if we continue to drop lower, 665 would be my first support zone. If 665 were to break, look at 650 and 640, 630 as potential take profit areas, as we do have strong support at those profit zones. Okay, that is Tesla, and I'm currently neutral on Tesla until we get above the 700, 710 mark. Another name that I want to look at is ROKU. ROKU had a strong week as well, much like a lot of the names on the market. Here we are on our ROKU, as we did have lows at 300. We are now bouncing back and testing 380, 384, and 395. We did get over this, or we're currently at that 374 mark. So as you guys can see here, 374 was strong resistance back on March the 10th. We're currently at that mark right now. So going into Monday, my first area would be 380. If that were to break, that would be my first confirmation. My second confirmation and my entry would be above the 384 mark for potential take profits at 395, 405, and 410. Okay, that is ROKU to the upside. I can definitely see us testing those areas if we do see SPX continuing its move higher. To the downside, we do have support here at that 370 mark. That would be my first confirmation. My second confirmation would be that 360 mark. If that were to break, I would look to enter shorts to take profit at that 350, 345, and 340 mark as profit taking towards the downside. Okay, I'm going to switch over here to the daily time frame to give you guys a broader outlook. And as you can see here, not Tesla, sorry, ROKU has definitely bounced here. And if we get above this 380 mark, it's definitely going to lead us to an area where 430 can be potentially retested, because that is the next hurdle to the upside. That is ROKU on the daily time frame and the 4-hour time frame. Another name that I want to look at that did have a nice bounce as well is PTON, PTON. Here is PTON. As you guys can see, a lot of these chart patterns are similar. We did have a big bounce on a lot of names, and again, Peloton was another one. We do have strong resistance at that 124.50 mark. As you guys can see here, we did hit that and got pushed back down. Going into Monday, I am looking at that 117 as support. If we can't break that, that would be my first confirmation. My second confirmation would be that 114. If 114 were to break, I would enter shorts at that area for potential take profits at that 110.50 109. To the upside, I am looking at that 124.50. If you are a conservative trader, definitely look above that. That would be my first confirmation. My second confirmation would be that 126 mark. I would enter above that 126 break. Obviously, guys, make sure you're looking at the volume, right? See this big break right here? It's confirmed by strong volume. That's essentially what you want to see above 126. So if we do see that above 126, 129, 133, and 135 are key areas to take profits at. So that is Peloton on the 4-hour time frame. Another name that I'm going to be looking at is Netflix, NFLX. Netflix, again, nice little bounce here from that $500 mark. Here we are at that strong resistance that I mentioned last week, which is that 556 mark to 564. So going into next week, 556 will be my first confirmation. 564 would be my second confirmation and my entry point for potential take profits at 570, 576, and 582. Keep in mind, guys, if you are entering above that 564 mark, try to look for volume confirmation, marking additions, and if you can, definitely look to enter these type of trades on analyst upgrades or downgrades, depending on your position, because a lot of these names, if you are day trading, tend to move on those type of catalysts. Okay, 564. We do have some price action here, as you guys can see here. We did consolidate while pushing down afterwards. So don't enter exactly at 564. Give it some time. Look at the market conditions, volume, and catalyst for an entry above those areas. To the downside, we do have some strong support at 542, which was resistance back here on the 23rd of March. So a retest of 542 is very possible. If 542 were to break, 536 would be my second confirmation. 530 and 522 might take profit areas. And if we do see market weakness, 500 could be tested once again. Okay, so that is Netflix going into next week on the 4-hour time frame. Another name that I'm going to be looking at, Square, another correlation to Bitcoin. Bitcoin did break above 60,000 this weekend, so it's a name to be keeping your eyes on, Square, because it does correlate to Bitcoin. They have a large holding of Bitcoin themselves. So if you are a trader of Square, definitely look over that 265 mark. If 265 were to break, 274, 280, and 285 retest of February 16th high is very possible. Again, much like Netflix and Roku, definitely look for volume confirmation. Don't enter on weak volume. You know, at the beginning of the trading day at 9:30, the bell rings. That's where the most liquidity volume is. And also an hour before close, an hour and a half before close, that's where volume picks up again. A lot of times during 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, you get bots and market makers pushing the price up and down, and you don't want to get stuck into that chop action. So again, if you're entering these positions, look for volume confirmation. So 265 would be my area that I would enter at. Above that, 274 and 280 might take profit areas. Or if the market continues to push, definitely look for that 283 to be retested once again. To the downside, I am looking at 250 as strong support. Support was held here. Sorry, previous resistance was here, which is now support. So 250 is an area for me to find support at. If that were to break, 245 to the 237 area would be take profit zones for me to the downside. Okay, so that is Square on the 4-hour time frame. Another name that I want to look at is NIO, NIO. NIO has bounced back from its lows around that $32 area. Here we are on Friday, just closing above resistance at that 38 mark. So going into next week, to me, I'm looking at that 40-50 level. If 40-50 were to break, 43 would be my first take profit area, and a retest of the 47 to 47 area would be my second take profit zone. If you are, more conservative and you are swing trading and you're looking for a better confirmation than these day trading targets, look over that $47 mark for an entry for potential take profits at 49 and 51. And guys, if you are a swing trader or you don't have time to be looking at charts nonstop, we do offer swing trading names. We do offer low cap names. We do have the MJ sector, the airline sector. So if you are a day trader, wealthy mentor trading is great for you. If you're a swing trader, wealthy mentor trading is great for you. We also have breaking news and current events on all of these names as they come in. So again, check us out at thewealthymentor.net and join our Discord group. To the downside, again, we do have support at that $36 area. Below that, we do have 32 as a take profit area. We did hit $32 here back on the 5th of March. So if we do see weakness, definitely look for that 32 area to be retested again on the break of 36, which we're going to take profit at 32. Another name that I want to look at is Facebook. Facebook had another great week. FB is the ticker. Facebook is at all-time highs. Let me just switch over here to the daily time frame, right? We have 315 all-time highs. Switching back to the 4-hour time frame to give you guys my targets. Okay, so 315 to the 316 area is an area where I would like to see entry above. If 316 were to break, 320 is my first take profit target. My second take profit target would be that 324 area, and I'm just going to draw that resistance point right now, which is right here. So going into next week, 320, target number 1, 324, target number 2. To the downside, first confirmation, 310. If 310 were to break, my second confirmation, 307. 307 breaks, I am looking at shorts down to the 301 mark, 302. First take profit. Second take profit would be that 297 mark, which we did have resistance up here. As you guys can see here, initially we tried to break that 297 300 mark, but got rejected. Tried to reattempt to break it again, but got rejected again. So old resistance right here is now support. So 297 would be my second take profit area to the downside. Okay, and I'm pretty bullish on Facebook. Great uptrend, definitely a name to keep an eye on. Another name, again, still stuck on the channel, but it's worth a mention, NVDA. Here is NVIDIA. Again, beautiful bounce off the lows here at 268, and we are trending higher. I would say here on NVIDIA, 578 would be my first entry point. Above 578, I am looking at take profit at 589 and 600 psychological as my second take profit area. Again, if we do see market strength going into next week and we do see SPX breaking 4,200, also the financial sectors nearing all-time highs, QQQ, technology sectors nearing retesting all-time highs again, definitely look for NVIDIA to see a push to that $600 level psychological. So those are my targets to the upside on NVIDIA on market strength. On market weakness, if we do see SPX below 4,100 and 4,000 retest, definitely look for a drop below the 552 area. Below the 552 area, I have take profits at 543 and 535. 535 is strong resistance back then, which is now support. So that would be my second take profit area on NVIDIA if we do see some market weakness. Another name that caught my eye heading into next week is HD, Home Depot. Home Depot is pretty much at all-time highs, and it's just made a straight beeline all the way up. These type of names I don't tend to go after, just because I just feel that they're overextended. However, with these market conditions and this type of environment that we're in, anything's possible, so it's worth to look at. Above 320 is an area that I'm going to be looking at. If 320 were to break, 325 would be my target, my first target, and my second target would be that 330 mark. Again, guys, we have never hit these targets before, but stocks tend to move in round numbers, and that's what market makers tend to push those prices at. It's also psychology. People like to remember numbers like 320, 350, 375, 400. Those numbers are stuck in people's brains, I should say. So when I have targets above that have never been reached or touched, it's because those are psychological points where people tend to trade at or take profits at. So 325, 330 to the upside, to the downside. I do have support here at that 314 mark. If 314 were to break, that would be my first confirmation. My second confirmation would be that 310 to 308. If that were to break, I would short down to the 304, which would be my first take profit target. 304 were to break, 297 would be my second take profit target. Okay, guys, so that is Home Depot on 4-hour time frame with targets to the upside and to the downside. Great week to be in the stock market. Like I said, QQQ nearing all-time highs, XLF, financial sector, with a lot of big names reporting next week for earnings, also nearing all-time highs. S&P 500, close to 4,200. We're making highs pretty much almost every day. So there's definitely a lot of opportunities in the market. We are still, we still have a lot of closures around the world in terms of restrictions and, borders, along with airline stocks not fully potentially meeting their, pre-drop highs. So there's a lot of opportunity in these markets for names to go back to where they were prior to all this pandemic stuff happening. And there's a great opportunity for the markets to even push. I believe SPX has an analyst upgrade at 4,400 target. So anything's possible. We could definitely see a top at 4,400 before we see a major correction. Or just by the way the markets are looking right now, we could see a slight pullback into next week. And that is still pretty healthy. As long as we stay above that $4,000 mark, I am pretty bullish on S&P 500. All right, guys, thank you so much. Those are the names that I wanted to discuss this week that caught my eye. Definitely give us a look at thewealthymentor.net. We have a great Discord channel, very consistent, up to date all the time. Definitely a must see. All right, guys, thank you so much. See you guys next week.